Hi, and welcome to Drive It Home. For those of you who know the show, you know that anything that has wheels, we love. But today, we're in car heaven. There's only one manufacturer in the history of cars that can claim performance as their middle name, and that would be Porsche. And today we're at Porsche of Clifton Park to take a look at two brand new entries into their lineup, the Panamera and the brand new Boxster. And I'm here today with Christian Trujillo, General Manager of Porsche of Clifton Park.
It's good to see you, Jesse. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for inviting us.
Oh, not a problem.
So you may have noticed this little blue number here sitting next to me.
Yachting blue, to be exact.
Oh, yachting blue. What
Yes.
else? So this is the new Porsche Panamera, correct?
Correct.
Now this is Porsche a while back did a car called the 928. Remember
That's
that was
correct.
a four-seat
Absolutely.
car?
Yes,
Very
it was.
interesting car.
Yes.
But this is the first time that they've entered this segment of the marketplace
Yes.
with a vehicle that truly lives up to the name of performance and luxury, by the way.
Absolutely.
You're talking about 4 seats, and for our neck of the woods, 4-wheel drive or
That's
all-wheel
correct.
drive as they like to call
That's
it.
correct.
Fuel efficient, and at a number that absolutely competes with every single car out there in that luxury segment.
That's correct. This was a little bit of a separation away from what you would consider your traditional Porsche as we know it.
Right,
You
the
know,
iconic
the iconic
911s
911
and
and things of that nature, which is going to have a rear engine or even a mid-engine in certain cases layout. This is going back to the 928s, as you had mentioned before, where you're going to have a front engine layout.
Right.
And one of the things that you notice with this vehicle is the engine is not only in the front, but the positioning of the engine, and it's a little bit different than your normal flat sixes or Boxster sixes or however you want to call it. This is actually a V configuration in the front of the vehicle. However, the engine is positioned to be a little bit behind the front axle.
Right.
So the weight of the
Weight
engine,
distribution.
weight distribution is much better.
That's
So
right.
it's not necessarily a full front engine vehicle. The engine
Right.
is actually positioned behind the front axle to a larger extent to give you much better balance, much better handling.
So we're talking about a 3.6?
We're talking about a 3.6 liter V6 that's capable of producing 300 horsepower.
Oh, that's serious.
With the 4 configuration, you're going to get, with the Sport Chrono package that's available, you're going to get 5.6 seconds 0 to 60 time, which for a sedan of its size is actually fantastic.
Oh, that's remarkable.
Yes.
Now, just talking about the front end here, we've got this nice LEDs
Yes, absolutely.
feature here.
One thing that you're going to see with this vehicle right here, standard on the Porsche Panamera, is the Porsche dynamic lighting system, which we have here with the bi-xenon headlights. Not only are the headlights bi-xenon, which is very nice, it gives you that high intensity discharge look and capacity so that you can see more in any sort of lighting condition, whether it's dark, light, foggy, but you have also your LED technology here beneath, which actually gives you a fantastic look on the vehicle, allows you to be seen. It's a safety feature. And when I was talking about before about the Porsche dynamic lighting system, as you turn your steering wheel, your headlights turn with you. And one of the nice things that you notice is actually when you're reversing the vehicle, a lot of people sometimes don't think, they're like, oh geez, it's just for forward driving. When you're reversing, the lights actually go the opposite direction of what you're turning. And it actually has you see what you should be seeing. So it's a much smarter headlight system. It's not just lights. It's a lot more than lights, and that comes standard on the Panamera models of any configuration, anywhere from the Panamera to the Panamera Turbo S.
All right, Christian, no better place to start than the wheels.
Absolutely.
We're talking 20s on this now.
We are talking
Isn't that
20s.
unbelievable?
Absolutely, and they look right on it.
And they would be all seasons?
Yes, they would.
That's great. Which wheel is this? You know, Porsche's got so many different options now.
Absolutely. This is the 20-inch RS wheel. This is your RS Spider wheel, technically. This is what you're going to see on a lot of our different models as well. One of the nice things about Porsche is that they offer the wheel packages from different models as they go through, from the 911 to the Cayenne to the Panamera, and they offer them in different variations. Obviously, it's not the same exact wheel because different wheels require different widths, different axle spacers, different things like that, but the wheel look is the same. This wheel is actually available on the Panamera and the Cayenne, and, and the wheel options for the Panamera are going to be anywhere from an 18-inch wheel, which is a beautiful wheel as well, all the way up to a 20-inch wheel, and you can have them painted the body color, painted black, whatever you want to do. The key to the Porsche brand and the key to these vehicles is personalization. No two vehicles are the same.
Well, here's a view most people will see of the Panamera,
That's right. That's right.
The rear, and it's so beautifully sculpted and designed. Again, all of these sort of features around the taillight construction.
Yes.
Obviously the Porsche name and the designation for the model. and just some serious pipes coming off of the back.
Some serious pipes, and this is the standard exhaust system. Obviously, the vehicles available with the sport exhaust system would give you the the quad pipes, which would signify that it does have the sport exhaust system, which is a beautiful system. Sounds fantastic. However, this sounds very good as well.
Well, I noticed that when we started it to move it over here, and let me tell you something, it sounds amazing.
It had a nice little rumble to it.
Now, can you get the sport exhaust with the 3.6, the six-cylinder?
You can get the sport exhaust with the 3.6.
See, they do. They think of everything.
Yes.
Thinking of everything, you got to open this up.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing that you see here, it's not your conventional trunk the way that most people would think. However, when you're looking at a hatchback vehicle like this, you're going to see that where it really pays off is and the amount of room that you actually have inside.
Yes,
this cover right here is very nice. However, it can come off as well, if you have something that requires a little bit more room, but, to be discreet and cover what you're carrying, that's what it has right there.
The attention to detail, it's form follows function. And also, if I'm not mistaken, they've got an outlet back here too, don't they?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Powered right in there.
Right.
And just when you thought that these seats were there and will not move,
that's right.
They actually do fold flat.
Yep, they do.
And then you have a great amount of room.
Good. Let's take a look inside.
Please.
Oh wait, first you got to just hit the button.
All right.
I just can't get over the lines of this car. It's so beautifully designed.
Oh, absolutely.
So anyway, may I get in?
Oh, please. It'd be my pleasure. Let me open it up for you. And Jesse, one thing that as you're opening, you have to notice the different door stops that the door has. It's not at any specific location. It's at any location. And it's some of the heaviest in the industry. Wherever you keep the door, it stays. As soon as you get into the vehicle, you're going to notice a couple of different things. Obviously, you don't feel like you're in a traditional sedan. That's first and foremost. You know that you're in a Porsche, and one of the things that you look at the dash, from the dash to the steering wheel to the position of the key. Obviously, Porsche heritage is get into the vehicle, put the key on the left,
so you can shift
immediately and just get going. Gave you a racer's advantage. Gives you the same racer's advantage in this vehicle. In this particular case, it's for the heritage of the vehicle, which is beautiful.
One feature here that we have to talk about, well, actually two features. One is that the gauge array is very Porsche, the overlapping gauges. You really know you're in a special car here. But this console really needs to be discussed.
Oh, of course it does.
So, at any rate, a couple of obvious things to me is that it's raised.
Yes.
Right? Which gives you just even that much more of a good driver's position between your right hand, the shift, and the steering wheel with your left.
And that's the idea behind it.
And everything perfectly positioned for that, right?
Yes.
And also how functional this console is.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're going to notice that the buttons that are there, every button only has one function. So it's not confusing. It's not like, all right, let me push this button, let me hold it, now it's going to do something else. Each button only has one function, so it makes it a whole lot easier to use. And at the end of the day, once you know how to use it, you can use it without actually even looking. And that's the idea behind it.
Little button here needs a little explanation.
Absolutely. The sport button. It's an intriguing button because you're wondering, I wonder what this does. This is already a sporty car to begin with. The sport button, what it does, all of the Panamera models, they come with Porsche PSM, which is Porsche Stability Management System. The sport button can do a couple of different things for you depending on what package you have. If you have the Porsche Stability Management, which they all have, what it does for you is it actually has your shift points become more aggressive, your throttle response becomes more aggressive, and if you have Porsche Active Suspension Management, what it does for you is it tightens the suspension up as well, so it changes the full characteristic of the car, the full dynamic. Right here with this vehicle that does not have the Porsche Active Suspension Management also changes the full characteristic of the vehicle, because one thing you'll notice from everyday driving and you want to get a little bit more spirited, you hit that button and you notice it immediately. Your shift points are higher. It allows you to rev into a higher rev range. And it also, the car itself just feels like it transforms.
It does transform. I know, I felt it myself. One last thing I wanted to mention here is that, we talk about driver position and all of that, but I'm 6'2". I have plenty of headroom here, and it also has the moonroof package, so I still have plenty of headroom, and this cockpit feel allows me, from people larger than I am, to adjust the seating and the space with plenty of room.
And you can't forget that this vehicle was designed to carry passengers as well.
That's right.
And then you're 6'2", I'm 6'2" as well. There's back seats, and they're comfortable back there, even with you being comfortable in the front.
You know what? I'm going to check it out. Well, here's something you're not accustomed to if you're a 911 guy. Oh, this is spectacular.
Can't do that in a 911, unfortunately. Well, you can, but you're not going to be this comfortable.
But you know, you don't mind if I just close the door there
No,
and
not
take a
at
look
all.
out at you?
Please.
Oh, just a couple of things you notice right away. This is one of the few cars that I'd ever be content being a backseat passenger in.
That's right.
You know that feeling.
Absolutely.
But the other thing is how beautifully sculpted the back of these seats are. The headrests, complete ventilation all over the place back here. Rear window that actually sinks down into the door and doesn't come like halfway.
That's right.
You ever notice that on some of the other brands?
Yes.
And storage back here, and depending on the model, all kinds of adjustability if you get that interior package.
Absolutely.
Right?
From 4-zone climate control all the way through, from adaptive sport seats, 18-way power adjustable all the way in the rear. You know, from just about anything you could really think of, you can get in the back. Obviously, with the Porsche brand, you always have the nice Porsche crests that are embossed on different areas. You can get that in the rear as well. And the vehicle really is a driver's car. However, when you're a passenger, you feel like the driver as well, which is what's nice about it.
You're telling me. All right, Christian. All right, go. Well, I don't know. I think we did this car justice.
That's right. That's right. We definitely did.
A couple of points I just want to make. You know, for those people out there, the real drivers, you think, oh, a 4-seat car. You know, this car is a true Porsche. And for those of you that recognize that luxury isn't just how many cup holders you have.
That's correct.
But that actually luxury has a lot to do with the way that confidence and the way that that a car feels.
Absolutely.
So if you're in the market for any of the larger 4-door luxury brands, you have to check this car out.
Have to. You would be at a loss if you do not.
Right.
You know, the vehicle itself is fantastic. At first, a lot of the Porsche customers, one thing, you know, to actually note, they were hesitant about the vehicle. They weren't excited about the car. It's not a Porsche in their head. It's not a 2-door mid or rear engine vehicle. It's not a Porsche. It's not a 911. It's not a Boxster. It's not any of the Spiders in the past, Targas, anything like that. However, when people come into the dealership, they give the car an opportunity to look at it. They really take the time to examine the vehicle. They see, wow, the car is beautiful. The car is a Porsche. The car is a sports car. They get in it and they fall in love.
And it's a luxury car.
And it's a luxury car. Absolutely.
At a price point that competes or is even better. I was shocked when I saw the sticker on this car.
Sure.
That and really enables you to get into a car that can make a complete statement about who you are and provide your family with the kind of safety that you would expect in a car of this class.
Absolutely.
You know, I've owned 4 Porsches so far, and I would love to have this car. So look, we have so much to talk about today. We're actually devoting the whole show to Porsche of Clifton Park. And when we come back, we're going to look at
a Boxster S.
Heaven again.
That's right.
Thanks.
Jesse, thank you.
This is a 3rd generation.
That's correct.
Porsche Boxster.
That's right.
This car, since what, 1998?
97 was the official.
97 was the official first one of the 1st generation. And I still, looking around the lot, I still see some of the cars from that era.
Absolutely.
But this car, ground up,
completely
brand new
different
car. Codename 981?
Codename 981.
Good.
From the beginning, when it was codename 986, to the 987 body style, which is the predecessor to this one, to the 981 that you have here.
Right.
And they follow the 911s, doing the 996, 997, and now the 991.
Right.
So similar code names that go along with the vehicle. But this vehicle is a complete redesign, restyle, rethinking of the car. You know, obviously it's always going to keep true to its core. Mid-engine vehicle, fantastic balance, great handling. This vehicle got better.
Yeah.
This vehicle got better in so many different respects. From the front that we're looking at here, you know, from the stacked headlights that you see here with the available Porsche dynamic lighting system with the bi-xenon headlights, stacked one on top of another, harks back to the 918 Spider that's coming out soon, the supercar, the halo car that Porsche has coming, which is an incredible vehicle. The lighting from this, the design, the style comes from that. And then when you look at the whole entire vehicle, the curves, the lines, much more masculine than the previous generation.
I noticed that this baby's got the 235 3520s.
That's correct.
That's a serious tire.
That's a serious wheel and tire combination. And one of the things that you're going to notice here, this is actually the Carrera S wheel. This wheel is the same wheel that's standard equipment on the 911 Carrera S.
Right.
Also optional on the 911 Coupe. And you have it on a Boxster. And to be honest with you, when you look at it on this vehicle, it just fits. And it looks just the part.
Well, you know, one thing I did notice, and Porsche's great on detail, right?
Yes.
The details are amazing on them. That the, you know, it's an S because the caliper is red.
It's red, absolutely.
And a slightly larger caliper, and of course a slightly larger disc.
That's correct.
Right? Just more stopping power. mounting the mirrors on the door
Mounting
again?
the mirrors on the door, not on the pillar,
Right.
not on the mirror frame or the window frame. Gives you the nice look, the better look to it.
And there's an aerodynamic reason for that too, which I was surprised to read about. One of the major design features on this car is sitting right there.
Yes.
That, and I think the way they described it when I was reading about it is that the Boxster, of course, is more of an entry level, if you could ever call a Porsche entry level.
Sure.
An entry level vehicle because it slips underneath the 911.
That's correct.
So some people initially on the original Boxsters thought it was kind of a hand-me-down.
That's right.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Because this door is unique to the Boxster.
That's correct.
Correct? And this beautiful design here, very reminiscent of the GT, by the way.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct. You know, a lot of the design style of this vehicle is very reminiscent of the GT. The way that it's muscular, the way that the front is proportioned to the rear, the way that the interior, the Carrera GT is embodied in the Boxster.
Yes.
You know, the mid-engine layout, just about everything that you see, the design cues, it really is going back to that. And especially now, you know, with the engine combinations that it gives you, starting from, you know, we're talking engine here as opposed to the front like we did in the Panamera, because the engine is mid-mounted in this vehicle. It's mounted in front of the rear axle.
That's right.
To give you the fantastic balance. That is something that came from the Carrera GT. That came from, you know, the 718 Spider from years ago. That came from the 550s. That came from all of the historical Porsches of the past. This vehicle embodies those because of everything that it has. You know, it goes back to the day of a fantastic flat six. Either a 2.7 liter with 265 horsepower or a great 3.4 liter like this vehicle has with 315 horsepower.
Right.
And by no means is it, you know, when people are like, oh geez, the 911 Carrera S that has 400 horsepower, that has this, that has that. And yes, it does. Fantastic, great vehicle. The Boxster, with its 315 horsepower or 265, handles like a dream, gives you all the power that you could possibly want.
That's
you know,
right.
0 to 60 times in the 4-second range. That's supercar range
right.
from years ago.
That's
you
right.
know, and in addition to it, gives you the great comfort, gives you the great style, gives you the great, like you said before, the great presence that only a Porsche could give you.
Well, you're totally right about that. One thing about Porsche, again, evolutionary changes or changes that you may not immediately notice or appreciate. Slightly longer wheelbase.
That's correct.
The overhangs are shorter.
Yes.
Boy, does that ever, not only stylistically, does that give it that unbelievable oomph kind of look to, but again, stability, handling.
Sure.
And a midship engine like this, pretty much, right? Forward of where the engine is in the 911.
That's correct.
Just does everything to just really lock that car down in terms of weight distribution and in terms of handling ability.
Absolutely.
Immediately, you do spot a couple of things about the car. Exhaust, if it's an S,
If it's
a
an
dual
S, that's
ported
that's
exhaust,
correct.
right? As opposed to just a single outlet, which is on the Boxster. This element here, now you can manually control this as well as automatically, correct?
Absolutely.
However, when this is down, the cut line from the tail light and the tail light trim through the spoiler, all the way across,
And
creates one beautiful seamless line.
Just one beautiful line.
And here you go, what we were talking about here. This is unheard of for any car in this class to even have a trunk.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at the interior, but in order to really see this interior, guess what?
Have to pop the top.
Pop the
Have
top.
to.
But just a couple of things about the top that just lowered.
Yes.
You know, that's a one-touch top.
Yes,
no
it is.
latches.
No latches, no anything.
And it also, you can lower this top up to 30 miles an hour, 31 miles an hour?
That's correct, that's correct. One of the things with the top that you noticed is the heavy-duty construction that it is. It's not just a piece of cloth.
That's right.
It is actually much heavier duty. It's almost like a hardtop.
That's
It's
right.
almost like a hardtop in 3 different pieces, where it allows it to fold the way that it did, to actually go back into place the way that it is, and to be hidden the way that it is. So with that, with the strength that it has, allows you to actually be driving and put it back at the same time. And one of the nice things that have come to the new generation of Boxster is, like you said, the one-touch operation of the top, because in the past, not that it was a super big pain in the butt, but you had to press a button here, unlatch it, and then do it.
That's right.
With this vehicle, much like the 911s, similar layout as you see.
Right.
Same button area.
Right.
Just pull that button back, and that's all you have to do.
Down she goes, and I think the time was 9 or 13 seconds?
Absolutely,
I think it was something
13
like that,
seconds,
13
absolutely.
seconds.
Yes.
which is really pretty remarkable. I was watching it as it was going down. It was, again, form following
Yes.
function. It was just absolutely just effortless, the way it just completely folded down, creates a nice line here, and you're right. That section there is actually a hard section for
Yes.
that top. Reveals this nice roll bar section here,
Absolutely.
and of course with the windscreen.
Sure. You know, one thing you're going to notice with these vehicles is the 3-pod gauge cluster that you see here, and the Panameras and the 911s are going to have a 5-pod gauge cluster. The Boxster from the beginning has always had a 3-pod gauge cluster. That's one thing that they continue to stick with. As you can see, you have your center stack, RPM gauge tachometer, you have your speedometer right here on the side. However, most time you're going to use the digital speedometer that you see here, and also you have your color TFT display, which through the buttons on the steering wheel or the toggle switch, depending on the steering wheel that you have, takes you through all the different features from tire pressure monitors to trip distances, navigation, your actual map, telephone, stereo, and different things like that.
Right, you know, you're mentioning again how you're able to individualize any Porsche that you buy, but just because you mentioned the steering wheel,
Yes.
I was really amazed. You actually can get 3 different steering wheel designs for this car.
You can.
And then customize those designs.
That's correct. That's what I was going to say. You have your multifunction wheel, your non-multifunction wheel, your sport design wheel, and then from there you can cover it in different finishes, from wood grain, carbon fiber, and all types of wood grains, Alcantara, aluminum finishes for the inside. There's so many different things that you can really do. Heated steering wheel, non-heated steering wheel, and it's not just the steering wheel alone, but that just gives you an idea of how much customization you could do to these vehicles.
Talk a bit about the console.
Oh, absolutely. And what you're going to see here is like what we saw in the Panamera before, and what you'll see in a 911, what you'll see in a Cayenne. And it really just harkens back to how we talked about this vehicle, just embodying all of, you know, the mid-engine supercars that Porsche has always had, especially the Carrera GT, because this rise that you see right here in the center, that comes from the Carrera GT. This vehicle has it. When you get into a 911, you'll notice it as well. You'll have the same one button per function functionality that you have in all of the other Porsche models. You have the beautiful Porsche communication management tool that's right in the center of it all, which really gives you the idea in any one of the Porsches that you're in, that you're in a Porsche.
We're going to take a break right now and show you when this car was unveiled a couple of weeks ago, right?
That's right.
At the Saratoga Auto Museum. It was an event not to be believed. There were hundreds of people there. There was a spontaneous Porsche car show out on the lawn, because all of us guys who have Porsches all showed up for this event, and we unveiled the car. Let's take a look at that.
Absolutely.
Good. You know, before it gets too crazy here tonight, I snuck over with Christian. And yes, of course, you know, this is the Boxster. And what we're going to do is just give you a little indication of what we're going to get tonight. So what's happening tonight?
Jesse, we have a party going on tonight. We have the release of our brand new 2013 981 body style Boxster. What we have under here is a little bit of a surprise. We'll see it in a couple of minutes. However, we have a party going on.
You know, we're going to have the usual suspects here, right?
Oh, sure.
And we're going to find them in the crowd.
Oh,
make sure that we get that comment on the new car.
Absolutely.
You know, you see these people when you go down to Porsche Clifton Park, you see a lot of the cars that these guys own, and a lot of them are here. As a matter of fact, the Boxster Club is outside.
Yes,
you see them?
yes,
They're all rolling in.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Everything from 1999, 2002, 2004.
Oh, of course,
It's
and
great.
they're lined up front. We have some of our cars lined up front. We have the customers lining up their cars up front. It looks like a club party. So it's awesome. And by the time the night gets rolling, it's going to be even greater.
So you're excited about tonight?
Oh yes, very exciting.
That's good.
It's a new place where I work. I'm excited about the new car and the car we do. Very excited.
The place Frank's talking about, of course, is Porsche of Clifton Park. And I've been down there a few times, and I saw Frankie in the back, and you can't believe the cars he works on, and just the way he works on them. You make it an art form. I'm telling you right now, you do.
I try the best.
Yeah, you do the best, by the way. So what do you think of the Boxster? Have you seen it yet?
The new Boxster is spectacular. I think it's going to be a winner. It's going to be one of the most beautiful sports cars in the world, regardless of price.
So you're going to get one?
Of course.
Of course you are. tell me that event wasn't a blast.
That was awesome.
You know, all the usual suspects were
Sure.
there, Tony Iannello and the gang.
That's right.
And I absolutely love the fact that they did that Porsche. All the Porsche guys put their cars all
yeah.
on the front
It was
front
awesome.
lawns
It was
there.
awesome. It was an impromptu car show. It came out, and it was nicer than most organized car shows, which was cool.
Yeah, really true. Look, one thing I did want to do before
Sure.
we go, I want to show this. Remember I was telling you before about a car of this caliber to have this kind of trunk space? I think that latch is
right there.
Look at this, a whole other trunk space and how deep that goes. So at any rate, this is maybe the fastest 30 minutes we've ever had on driving home.
This
is a blast. And I'm
That's been
coming
a good
back to do
time.
the 911.
Please,
okay?
please do.
This is Porsche of Clifton Park. You've seen it on the screen the whole time you've been watching the show. Real easy to get to, off of exit 9. Come in and see Christian and just take a look and take a drive at, honestly, I think the best performance-built cars in the history
Absolutely.
of cars.
I 100%
right?
agree.
Yeah, this is great, as always.
Thanks,
Great
Jesse.
to
I
see you.
appreciate it. Good to see you too.
Good.
All right.
Thanks for watching.